He loved life, and he loved to help others. And that's how I will live my life, and he will be remembered. Milian was such a sweet girl. She was best friends with my daughter. She came by a lot, and the three of them played. Even Mikey played with the girls, and their laughter was just contagious. Milian always made me smile, and I will miss her.
I've been through a lot of things in my life, a lot. But this one right here, I wouldn't wish on anyone in this world. Milian was the life of our family.
Now to that heartbreaking story out of New Jersey. A 10-year-old girl is still missing after she and 2 other kids were swept away by the Passaic River.
Unfortunately, we do know one boy has died after pushing his sister to safety. Eyewitness News reporter Jaysha Patel is live in Passaic with more. Jaysha, as the sun is coming up, it's getting brighter out there. Hopefully those divers will be back out there searching for that child. Good morning.
Good morning, Shirlene and Pedro. Yeah, from where we're standing, we can't see any search crews, but I'm sure they are still looking for that 10-year-old girl who is still missing at this hour. She was with a 10-year-old boy who died and his 11-year-old sister who is alive this morning thanks to her brother who helped save her life. And officials told us last night that they believe these 3 kids were by the ramp by a riverbank and somehow got into the water, and then children from across the river saw what happened and called 911 immediately. Officials say the 10-year-old boy who died pushed his 11-year-old sister towards the rocks so she could climb out. Divers found his body a little after 10 last night. And of course, the weather that we've had, it's complicated search efforts here as divers look for that missing 10-year-old girl. And as you can imagine, this is quite the shock for community members here.
On a warm July evening in 2026, the Passaic River looked almost peaceful. The surface shimmered under the fading light. Children played nearby. Families walked the paths. Nothing about that ordinary summer night suggested that 2 young lives were about to be taken and one family would be left forever changed by a single, selfless act of love. 3 children from Garfield, New Jersey, stood near the water that night. 10-year-old Mikey, Robert Klenk Jr., his 11-year-old sister Hope, and their close friend, 10-year-old Millie, Dula Thompson. They attended the same school. They played together, they laughed together. They had no idea that the concrete boat ramp they stepped onto would become the last place 2 of them would ever stand on solid ground. Heavy rains earlier in the week had swollen the river. Nearly 5 inches of water had fallen across the northern New Jersey. The Passaic, already known for its hidden currents and sudden drops, ran high and fast. The boat ramp at Dundee Island Park, used by emergency responders, sat partially underwater. From a distance, it looked longer, safer, more solid than it truly was. That optical illusion would prove deadly. Around 6:20 in the evening, the 3 children ended up on that ramp. In a matter of seconds, the ground beneath them disappeared. The current seized them. Panic set in. Water filled their mouths. The cold, powerful river pulled them away from the shore with terrifying speed. Hope would later describe the chaos, the struggle, the fear, and the moment her little brother reached for her. As Michael fought to keep his own head above the surface, he pushed her. He placed his hand on her. He moved her toward the rocks. Whether he fully understood what he was doing in those final desperate seconds, or whether pure instinct took over, the result was the same. Hope felt the rocks beneath her feet. She climbed. She pulled herself out of the water. She survived. Michael did not. A bystander saw the children in the river and did what any decent person would do. He jumped in. He swam toward them with everything he had. The water was deeper than it looked, the current stronger than he expected. He reached about 5 meters out before the river itself fought him back. He could not reach the children. He would later express the deep pain of that failure, the knowledge that he had tried and still come up short. On the opposite bank, other children watched in horror and called for help. Emergency services raced to the scene. Dive teams, boats, first responders from multiple agencies. The search began immediately under difficult conditions: murky water, rising tide, fading light. The river that had looked so calm from the shore revealed its true nature once the teams entered it. Hope was reunited with her family, safe, alive, but already carrying the weight of what she had witnessed. She told officials what her brother had done. Mayor Hector Laura would later share her words with the public. As Michael went under, he pushed her toward the rocks. She climbed out. She lived because of him. Around 10 o'clock that same night, roughly 3.5 hours after the children entered the water, rescuers recovered Michael's body. He was found only 30 to 50 feet from the boat ramp. 10 years old. A boy who loved video games, who enjoyed helping his mother cook, who had a heart big enough to push his sister toward safety even as the river claimed him. The search for Milian continued through the night, into the next day, and the day after that. Crews worked with sonar, drones, helicopters, dive teams, and eventually cadaver dogs. They covered miles of the river. The conditions remained brutal. High water, strong undercurrents, limited visibility. Every hour that passed made the hope of finding her alive grow smaller. Milian's family waited. Her grandmother, Yolanda Brooks, would later speak of the unbearable pain of those days. The not knowing, the praying, the refusing to give up even as the hours stretched into days. On Friday evening, July 31st, a couple looking out from a nearby building saw something in the water near the Market Street Bridge. They called 911 without hesitation. Within minutes, recovery teams confirmed what everyone had feared. Milian's body was recovered approximately 100 feet from the bridge. Her mother was brought to the scene. She identified her daughter. A rainbow appeared in the sky over the recovery site that evening. Many who saw it would later say it felt like a sign, a moment of unexpected beauty in the middle of profound grief. Mikey Klenk Jr., was remembered by his mother, Natalie Kupinewicz, as a pure and fun-loving soul. A boy with a heart of gold. He liked spending time with her. He played on his computer. He helped in the kitchen, especially when steak was on the menu. He made people laugh. He was generous. He was humble. And, in the final moments of his short life, he became a hero to the sister he loved.
He was very giving and humble. He loved life, and he loved to help others. And that's how I will live my life, and he will be remembered.
Milian, Millie. Dula Thompson was preparing to enter the 5th grade. She was energetic, creative, full of life. Her grandmother called her the light of the family. Teachers remembered her bright smile and eagerness to learn. Friends and classmates adored her. She was only 10 years old. She should have had decades ahead of her. Instead, the river took her on a summer evening while she was simply playing with her friends. The community of Garfield and the city of Passaic felt the loss deeply. Both towns sit along the same river. The children lived only a short distance from the park where everything changed. Memorials began to appear. Flowers, notes, stuffed animals, candles. On August 2nd, mourners gathered on the Market Street Bridge. They released pink and blue rose petals into the water. The petals floated downstream, carried by the same current that had taken the children. On August 6th, a candlelight vigil was held at Century Field in Garfield. Families embraced. People who had never met the children still came to stand with those who had. A GoFundMe created to help both families with funeral costs and immediate needs raised tens of thousands of dollars. Strangers opened their hearts and their wallets because the pain felt shared. Mayor Hector Laura spoke often in those days. He met with the families. He stood with first responders. He described Michael's actions toward Hope with quiet reverence. He acknowledged the mother's grief, noting that the Klenk family had already suffered the recent loss of the children's father. Double sorrow in such a short time. He praised the bystander who tried to save the children. He thanked the couple whose quick call led to Milian's recovery. And he promised that once the immediate crisis passed, officials would examine every possible way to prevent something like this from happening again. The boat ramp itself became a focus of discussion. It exists for a necessary reason. Emergency boats launch from there. Firefighters and police need rapid access to the river. The ramp cannot simply be closed. Yet the partial submersion after heavy rain created a dangerous illusion. Officials began talking about better signage, stronger warnings, life rings and rescue equipment placed along the banks, possible gates that could still be opened quickly in an emergency, increased patrols, public education about the true nature of the Passaic River, the river that can look calm while hiding a deadly current underneath. Hope survived. She will carry the memory of that night for the rest of her life. The feeling of the water, the sound of the current, the moment her brother's hand helped push her toward the rocks. The knowledge that he did not make it out with her. Surviving when a sibling does not is its own kind of lifelong weight. The community has surrounded her and her mother with support, but no amount of support can erase what she experienced. Michael's funeral was held in the days that followed. Milian's was scheduled for mid-August. 2 small caskets, 2 families broken open by the same river on the same evening, classmates who would return to school in the fall without 2 of their friends, teachers who would look at empty seats, a grandmother who said she never imagined she would have to bury her 10-year-old granddaughter. This was not a story of crime. There was no villain waiting in the dark, no act of malice. It was a story of water, of weather, of a moment of childhood play that turned catastrophic in seconds. It was a story of a brother who, even as he was drowning, still reached for his sister. It was a story of a community that refused to look away from the grief of 2 families. And it was a story that forced local leaders to confront the quiet dangers that have always existed along the Passaic River. The river continues to flow. It always will. Boats still launch from that ramp when emergencies demand it. Children still play in the parks, nearby. But something shifted after July 29, 2026. People look at the water differently now. Parents hold their children's hands a little tighter when they walk near the banks. Officials continue to discuss new safety measures. And the names of 2 10-year-olds remain spoken with tenderness and sorrow in Garfield and Passaic. Mikey, Robert Klenk Jr. pushed his sister toward life. Millie, Dula Thompson, never came home. Hope Klenk carries both of them with her. Their story is a reminder that some of the most profound acts of love happen in the darkest, most desperate moments. It is a reminder that rivers can deceive, that weather can change everything, that childhood can end without warning, and it is a reminder that communities, when faced with unbearable loss, often respond with a depth of compassion that offers the only light left in the darkness. If this story has moved you, if the courage of a 10-year-old boy who saved his sister has stayed with you, take a moment to hold the people you love a little closer today. Tell them what they mean to you, because as the families of Mikey and Millie know too well, none of us is promised tomorrow. And if you believe these children's lives deserve to be remembered, share their story. Let more people know the names of Michael Klenk Jr. and Millie and Dula Thompson. Let the quiet heroism of a brother who pushed his sister to safety reach further than the banks of the Passaic River. Their time on this earth was short. The love they left behind, and the love that continues to surround their families, is not.